I don't think it's coming through the camera. I seem to hear my own. That's even
does these like 20-minute videos, breaking down every element of pop song.
Okay.
Usually from the 80s, because it's so good. And he explains why we love the song so much, and just how the technical virtuoso that we don't even appreciate because it's a pop song. But like every little thing she does is magic.
Yeah.
This is like one of the most complex.
Yeah. It's the
And
start,
then we'll, like,
stop.
do Daft Punk, and he'll show how they sampled 6 different like weird beats from 70s disco and just looped them. They said, they don't get the credit for being
Right. Well, like in the earlier days, like music was way more complex and like just more pleasing to listen to. Like it took some level of like, I mean, regular lay people don't understand it and like it, but like actually made real music back then before everything was pushed aside. Yeah,
has
so much layered in there. Yeah.
that you're like, disco gets stopped
Right.
all the time. But it was like insane. I have my
Ooh, I'm just like, please let me remember the order in which I put things. Because once I get started, I'm good. But I'm just like, okay.
Slides or notes or anything?
No, no. I was like, it's good. It's hard enough just to like speak. I was like, I don't want to have to think about moving slides and stuff. Right. And I have to put the slides together because I can't just have regular slides. Yeah. So, none of that. Just
asked to speak in Fargo to the app up there.
Oh, hold on one second. I got that something. Hold on a second.
All right, guys.
It forced me to put together a slideshow and actually practice it.
Go ahead and find a spot. Voice memo.
I haven't installed. That's ridiculous. Oh.
All right. Well, thanks to Alex and his mentor, Paul, for providing some background music. So, yeah. Alex is going to be playing with T-Bex and the Velocirockers. July 29th at the Yucca Tap Room in Texas. Thank you. So go check them out in action. Anyone else? Oh, yeah. So that'll, I'm assuming, will come up at, did we? Yeah, disappeared someplace. All right. So little agenda for today. I'm not usually up here because our mascot is normally running the show. He's now running the camera. I can read from the screen, and that's way less intimidating than the technology of the camera. So get a little bit about what we're doing today. Remember, there's going to be 30-second spotlights at the end. So if you have something that you want to share about what's going on in your world, or maybe you're thinking about that, you're welcome to share about that at the end. All right. We are currently Creative Mornings, the local breakfast networking organization with chapters all around the world. We are currently in 248 cities in 70 countries. Over 20,000 people attend a Creative Mornings chapter event or virtual field trip every month. Big thank you to our global sponsor, Adobe. How many of you guys use an Adobe program on a regular basis? We're pretty regularly. So we think it'll be funding to sponsor the entire Creative Mornings movement across the world. Adobe is the perfect presenting sponsor for our global theme mentor, because no matter where you are in your creative journey, just getting started or shifting direction, Adobe has your back with career resources and inspiration to keep you moving forward. For example, their new career guide, The Power of Mentorship, Why Every Creative Needs a Mentor. And we'll share the link in our later today or tomorrow. Out. So round of applause for Adobe. Adobe, another Adobe. Adobe recently launched the Creative Apprenticeship, a game-changing program for emerging creatives. Mentorship, real-world projects, actual job opportunities, all on Adobe's new Career Resource Center. Wherever you are in your journey, Adobe is cheering you on with tools and inspiration that you need. So again, that'll be in link will be in the email, so keep your eye open for that. Now, our local sponsor, AIGA Arizona. AIGA Arizona is on a mission to nurture creative curiosity, use programming, resources, and mentorship to empower the voices in our community to create a lasting impact. Established in 1989 as the local chapter of AIGA, the Professional Association of Design volunteers build programming to help improve designability for Arizona creative professionals. They connect with complementary disciplines of creativity and expression. They promote community excellence. How? By providing resources and access to all creative professionals in the state and making sure that underrepresented communities have a seat at the table. Learn more about AIG Arizona at aigaaz.org. And big thanks to our host venue, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arizona. We're going to have Andrea, would you like to come up and say a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Thank you all for joining us this morning. Andrea Petroff, Director of Programs here at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I myself have been with the agency for many different capacities, but I also am an alumni Big Sister. So I met my sister when she was 6 years old. She is now 30. Don't tell her age out loud. So for 24 years, I've had the honor to mentor her in many different capacities. Here at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we are part of a national organization. So we serve all of Maricopa and parts of Pinal County. We serve youth ages 6 to 15. They can stay in our program until they reach the age of 18 and graduate. At 18, you become a mentor yourself. We have two main programs. Our community-based programs, we are out in the community picking up a child from their home. We're doing things on evenings or weekends that really kind of fit into your schedule. And our community-based program is something you can actually do with a spouse, significant other, best friend, your family, something that you can go out and serve a child in that capacity. We also have 11 partner sites for our site-based programming. That's something that you can do on through your workday. You have that flexibility that you're able to go and meet a child during their lunch hour. You go have lunch with them, maybe go out in the playground. We also have after-school programs. Certain sites meet after school. We do have an LGBTQ program in which we meet on Saturdays. We serve all youth in all different capacities. We have variety of you could get involved. The agency volunteering is not your thing. Lots of different opportunities. We have Paul's Car Wash. We're always for volunteers that assist us there. Many different events and things like that. So appreciate you guys coming out today. I know I don't want to steal the spotlight from the true discussion of one of our current volunteers. So we're going to let Drew take the lead on that one. If you have any questions at all, I did leave a placard up in the back as well as some flyers. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about your organization. So Thank you all.
And Big Brothers Big Sisters has a connection with Savers Thrift Store. So if you brought any donation items, did anybody bring donation items? Mine is sitting on the door. So if you brought donation items, go meet Andrea, and we'll get you entered into the raffle at the end of the day. So next, I'm going to call up Audrea. Audrea is going to read our manifesto. And when Audrea and I were chatting a little bit yesterday about the manifesto, she mentioned that this has meant different things to her throughout her career. And I know it has meant, like, I love the words of this. So I'm going to invite you to snap when we reach a point as she's reading it, if there's something that resonates with you. So just like a little extra engagement here. And right here.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to the volunteers. That's us.
Okay, the Creative Mornings Manifesto. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things that you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others and hugs and high fives. And we bring people together who are driven by passion, purpose, confidence that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you. All right. So our theme this month, Creative Mornings, is all over the world, but so in a variety of different cities. Every chapter will speak on the same theme. So this month the theme is mentor. It's chosen by our Glasgow chapter in Scotland and illustrated by Molly Higginson. Where'd it go? No one is born with all the knowledge and skills they will need to thrive in life. So ask for help. We all could use guidance as we climb. Find your mentors and be a mentor in return. Your plans for growth are more likely to succeed if they include lifting others up as you rise. So our speaker today is Drew Shaw. Drew Shaw knows a thing or two about mentoring. He's been a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arizona for 4 years and a teacher at various levels of education. As an entrepreneur, he's also been mentored through different formal and informal settings, such as Seed Spot's Impact Accelerator program. So Drew is passionate about the power of education and entrepreneurship and the opportunities they create to empower people and communities. Drew, come on up.
Oh, I said I was going to take off my name badge because it doesn't really
Focus.
go with the fit. I'll put it back on after it if you want to come talk to me. But yeah, thank you so much, Creative Mornings and Big Brothers Big Sisters, especially Big Brothers Big Sisters. You all have a special place in my heart because when I was asked to speak about mentor, I was like, wow, what a kismet moment to be able to talk about something that means so much to me. And when I was asked, I also had an opportunity to reflect on my journey and as I've gotten older, the importance of mentors in my life. I think it's super important for us to have people who are wise advisors to help us get through life's challenges and to tell us no when we really want to hear a yes and hear a yes when we are terrified to move forward. So I thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. And today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life in 3 stages. And I believe mentorship is both active and passive. It's active in the way that you can live your life, and as you move through your professional life or your personal life, people will look at you and say, wow, you have something that I aspire to be, or you are doing something that I aspire to do. How did you do that? What resources can you offer me to help me do what you are doing? Can you sit down with me? Can you point me in the right direction? But I think mentorship is also passive. Sometimes we unintentionally mentor people from afar, right? Like I'm sure you've heard your favorite speaker or your favorite author or a person who does business really well, and from afar you're like, oh wow, this person is amazing. I'm going to read every book that they have. I'm going to listen to every podcast they've ever been on because they've inspired you to become something greater. And I think at the heart of mentorship, it is the community and the connections that we make to make us better human beings at the end of the day. And I also think that there are people who quietly yet constantly influence our decisions. And the first phase of mentorship I'm going to talk about is my grandfather. So I'm originally from the South, the Carolinas. Yes, both Carolinas, because people ultimately say which one and make me choose a side. I am from both. And most of my mom's side of the family is from South Carolina. And my grandfather is a countryman through and through. And he's also a Southern Baptist preacher. And so you can imagine all those things wrapped into this character, if you will, of a Southern Baptist country man from South Carolina. He, anytime I would go over to my grandparents' house, he would oftentimes be in his big brimmed hat, working in his overalls in his garden, tending to the squash and the watermelons. And he did have some of the best watermelons in the world, by the way. And oftentimes, I would go over to their home, my grandparents' home, and there would be strangers all over the house. I would walk into the kitchen, and there'd be a stranger in the refrigerator getting ready to put something in the microwave to eat. Or I would walk into a bedroom, and there would be a person taking a nap in the bedroom. And it was a common occurrence. At a certain point in life, I just thought it was normal and that thought that everybody had strangers walking up and through their house. What made matters even greater is that my grandparents had a barber shop and a beauty salon in the bottom portion of the house. So strangers would constantly be in and out of the house. You could hear the laughter through the vents coming through the floor. You could also hear the gossip coming through the vents in the floor. You could hear the latest news and what was concerning the community at the time. And my most prominent image of my grandfather is of him in his recliner with the telephone, the big telephones uh, wedged between him and his belly as a sci-fi show or a western was playing in the background. He was always ready to connect with people. He was always available. He relished the opportunity to be able to connect and help others. And sometimes, actually, most times, I'm like, geez, do you ever disconnect? The answer is no. There are some people I think who are built to bring people together, to connect, to jump into someone else's life. And he was definitely one of those people. He passed away in 2015, and a lot of things happened during that time because he was such a pillar in the community. People from different states stopped by the house. Most of them, like I said, strangers that I didn't know, to pay their respects. And people were in and out of their house bringing casseroles and all the great Southern cooking that I've missed so much sometimes. Um, but the thing that I remember most about that period of time wasn't necessarily my grandfather's funeral. It was in the days leading up to um, his his funeral. And the thing that I remember most is some of his contemporaries, some older gentlemen would come around and they would be retelling stories of my grandfather's life. And they would tell stories about how my grandfather, in his younger days, he wasn't a very imposing man. As he got older, he got a bigger. I'm glad he's not here to hear this. But he got like a bigger belly, and because of all that good Southern cooking, he got this gruff voice. But in his younger days, he was he was pretty average. I'm a taller person, so this is average. But they would talk about how scrappy he was and how fiery he was and how he was never afraid to like throw down with a person twice his size and how he would love fishing and he would go fishing pretty much every day, any opportunity that he got. And how he would carry around a knife wherever he went because you never know. If you're in a survival situation or a life or death situation, you might need a knife. And he definitely carried around even when I became an adult. I was like, oh, he still has a knife. Whether he's cutting an apple or just whittling a stick down, like I said, he was a country man. So, but one story really stuck out to me that they were telling, and they told this story about how one day my grandfather was driving down one of the curvy country roads, and he sees a person who is wheeling themselves down the road in a wheelchair. He initially passes them and then turns around and stops and asks, "Hey, do you need help?" And the person says, "Yeah, I just need to go a little bit further down the road, but I'm almost there." And he said, "You know what? I'll just hop in and I'll take you." He helped the person into his car. He got their wheelchair, threw that in there as well, and took them to their destination. And to most people, that is something almost insignificant, something really small that most people could do. But that is just, it didn't surprise me at all. And I had seen it my entire life. I've seen him do much greater acts of kindness and generosity than that. But in that moment of reflection on his life, those are the things that his contemporaries and his friends and his family chose to talk about. And it convinced me that that's the kind of life that I wanted to live as well. So I made the decision in that moment that I wanted to live a life in the service of others. And if I can't change a person's life, at least I can make their day better. And so he was who I consider my first mentor because my family spent a significant amount of time at their house, and he was a man who was worthy of being admired and meant to be like. And so this second phase of my life is when I first moved to Phoenix. So like I said, I'm originally from the Carolinas, and what brought me all the way across the country is I joined a teaching program called Teach for America. And with Teach for America, you can choose to go to a number of different regions around the country and go teach in some of the most under-resourced communities in the country. And so I chose Phoenix. Don't ask me why. It was cool. I had never been as far west in the country. I watched Waiting to Exhale, and if it's good for Angela Bassett, it's good for me. So, so I decided to move to Phoenix and to start teaching elementary school. And one of the best things that I decided to do was keep a journal of those initial years of me teaching. I didn't do it on a regular basis, but I did it enough to help me look back and say, wow, what an interesting time in life. I didn't go to college to become a teacher. I became a teacher because I saw it as a social justice issue. I don't think that a child's life outcome should be determined on what zip code they grew up in. And so that's why I decided to become a teacher. And less than 2% of the teaching population are Black men. And so I wanted these kids who live in these uh, under-resourced communities to see an example of a Black man who wasn't a celebrity or a rapper or an athlete. So I was the entryway for a lot of my students who were 98% Latino to see what a professional Black man could be in the classroom. And in my second year of teaching, I was a slightly better teacher than I was my first year. I wouldn't say by much, but I felt like I was a better teacher. I definitely had a better grip on the demands of what teaching was. And the thing about Teach for America is that if you were not already certified or had an undergraduate degree in teaching, you had to get certified and you had to get your degree in teaching. And so I was teaching all day and taking classes after teaching and had workshops to go to on the weekends. But thank goodness for that fresh out of college vigor and energy that I had at the time. Because if you asked me to do that today, I'm like, no, I'll pass, thanks. No, absolutely. And with teacher pay, absolutely not. So, but once again, I didn't know any better. I was fresh out of college. I was grateful to have a job. So my second year of teaching, I wrote about this particular day in my journal, and it really helped define my my influence that I had unintentionally on others. And so I'm going to read a little passage to you. This was written on December. See, I marked this. Why is it not? December. We'll say, oh, it's backward. So it was written on December 12th, 2006. So this is halfway through the school year of my second year of teaching. And if I stumble over these words, it's because I hadn't yet developed my great teacher handwriting at the time. So bear with me. Today was one of those days where you don't know whether it was a good day or a bad one. The day started out with the news that Anthony was getting in-school suspension for punching another kid in the nose. That boy is something else. He is bright and helpful in class, but is completely impulsive when in unstructured environments. Something has got to change if he is going to be a success, whether he has ADHD or not. On the other hand, the day was redeemed by Davion. All of a sudden, he just decided that he would do everything I did. This includes following me around the classroom, leaning against desks and pretending to tie his shoes so he could get out of line and walk behind me. Finally, I asked him what he was doing as he was standing, peering over his desk to look at my feet. He replied, "Well, I have to see what my role model looks like when he walks." And at that moment, I didn't realize what had taken place. He told me that he wanted to walk in my footsteps and do what I did. No one has ever said anything like that to me. And the interesting thing about it is that he actually meant it. I don't consider myself a person that anyone should model themselves after. I've done nothing notable at this moment to attain the honor of being a role model for anything. Taking all this into consideration, I walked unassumingly through the playground during recess. Then I hear the distinct tap of an eight-year-old's feet running behind me. Of course, it was Davion catching up. I took this moment to ask him why he wanted to choose me as his role model. His response came as he was circling my stationary figure on the basketball court. He quickly rattled off a list of complimentary characteristics that I possess, such as being smart, caring, intelligent. I didn't know how to respond. I said, "I'm flattered, but you need to be careful of who you choose as your role model in life, and I'll still be yours." And with that, I walked away. I have no idea what I meant. I guess I was just trying to be wise. I wrote earlier that I wanted to be close to Davion because I felt that we shared common ground. And I believe now he realizes what I saw. I am also glad that I have a student who I know will never forget me. As I walked down the sidewalk past the fence and Davion returning to play, I smiled and said to myself, moments like these are why I'm glad I'm a teacher. And so this is an example of unintentionally mentoring someone. And of course, as a teacher, you kind of sign up for that role, right? Hopefully, you sign up for that role if you're a teacher, because you have all of these bright minds looking at the adult in front of them, hoping that they catch or glean any kind of information from you on a daily basis. And hopefully you're able to present your best self in front of these people. And when a student like Davion, who is this bright, gregarious, social, just overall awesome kid, looks at you and says, "I want to be like you," that really let me know that I needed to take my life a little bit more seriously and also to live more intentionally and purposefully if I want to make an even greater impact for not just Davion, but for all my students and all of the people who I surround myself with. And so now we're in the third phase of life, this current phase of life, as you will. And taking all the things that I've already learned from my grandfather, my experience as a teacher, I decided I wanted to be more intentional about how I spend my time in mentorship. And so I have a company called Voice Threads. We are an apparel brand and we partner with nonprofits and we use the nonprofits' work to design mismatched socks. That tells the story of the work of that nonprofit. And I'm actually wearing mine today. You can ask me about it after we get done talking. But when I was cultivating that relationship, I was like, you know what? I think this is the perfect opportunity for me to do exactly what I had set out to do from the very beginning. So while we were developing that partnership, I said, hey, you know what? I think I want to sign up to be a big with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And of course, they were excited to have me because there's a shortage, by the way, of bigs, so they need you. Hint, hint. And so I got paired up with this scrawny. He would hate that I called him scrawny just now, but he was scrawny and still is scrawny. And he says I make fun of him all the time, but what's he gonna do? So this scrawny 9-year-old kid named Tarai, and initially he was really shy, but I very soon after learned he is not shy at all. And one of the things that, we've been matched together for about 4 years now, and so now he's a teenager, and he comes with all the teenager things as well. But it makes for much more rich and deep conversations, and I have to exercise my patience like I never have before. But one of the things that I really appreciate about Harai is that he is not afraid to advocate for himself. He is not afraid to ask for what he wants, much to my chagrin, a lot of the times. But I've learned to do that for myself as well, because as adults, we sometimes just grit and bear it. Like even if things aren't going our way, we're like, oh, it's fine, whatever. Tarai is not. If he does not get his way, he will ask, hey, can you change this? Or if he sees something he wants, he will go up to an adult and say, hey, you have this thing, can I have it? I've never seen a person who is as shameless and bold as Tarai. And so I'm learning to match his energy many of the times when we're out in public. But I also teach him some things. One of our first outings was at this place called Main Event. If you don't know what Main Event is, it's kind of like Dave and Buster's. It's an entertainment place. They have arcade games and bowling and laser tag, and they have a restaurant there too where you can, order food while you're spending all your money. And we had ordered some food, and we were waiting in the booth, and the food was taking quite a while to get to our table. And as adults, hopefully we can just internalize all of our frustrations and just wait patiently, hop on our phone, and just pass the time. But not Tarai. Tarai kept looking over the booth, was like, "What is our food?" And I understand he was my spirit animal at the time. I was like, I know you're impatient. I'm hungry too. And when I get hungry, I turn into the Incredible Hulk. I get it, but we have to be patient. And so I told Tarai, I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna teach you something today. And so I quickly looked up on Google, what is the definition of patience? And it gave me this very academic definition of patience. So I had to use my teacher brain and distill it down to something really simple for him to be able to remember for future use. And so I said, Tarai, what we're going to do today is we're going to learn about patience. Patience is the ability to wait without getting angry or upset. Okay? And I had him repeat it over and over and over and over again until he could say it without me having to prompt him for the definition. And by the time the food came, he could do it without me having to prompt him because it still took a long time. But I told him, hey, every time we meet, I'm going to ask you what the definition of patience is. And if you don't remember, I'm going to remind you, but this is something that we both need to work on, but especially you because you have severe impatience. And for the next 6 months, I asked him. And if you ask him today, he would, I don't I don't want to put too much pressure on him. But if you ask him today, he would have an idea of what patience is. Well, I'll give him some grace. He would have an idea and be able to tell you in a roundabout way what patience is. But the main point is that he actually became more patient. He actually started to identify when he was patient. He's like, see, Drew, I was patient just now. And I was like, you know what? You are absolutely right. That's a high five. And now that he's a teenager, I see him exercising patience all the time. I said, good, lesson learned. And I also taught them about entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, I know that, the joys and the stresses and the highs and the lows and the satisfaction that comes from entrepreneurship. So I took him to a Saturday market, and there's plenty around here. And I told him, hey, look around at all these people selling things, all these tents, all these food trucks. All these people are entrepreneurs. They believe enough in themselves and what they are providing the community to launch out and work for themselves. And he's like, wow, that's really cool. I never thought about that. Maybe that's something I want to do. And he asked me still to this day, hey, can we go to a market? I was like, are you willing to get up early to go? And he's like, you know what? Maybe next time. I also taught him about being charming. So the great thing about Big Brothers Big Sisters is that we get invited to do a lot of really cool events, and it's all at the generosity of adults and other organizations. And one of the things that Tarai and I had to work on is whenever he meets a new adult, he shrinks inside of himself. He doesn't want to look them in the eye. He'll like shake their hand like this. It's like, Tarai, come here for a second. I was like, we do some really cool stuff, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, you know why we're able to do this really cool stuff? It's because people want us to be there because, number one, we're cool. Second of all, they're just being really generous. And we need to show our appreciation by being able to look people in the eye, give them a strong handshake, and tell them how much we appreciate being there. So what we're going to work on is being charming. Charming doesn't mean that we're pretending. It means that we're presenting ourselves in the best way that we can present ourselves. So we practice looking people directly in the eye and giving them a strong handshake. And so now, when he walks into a room, or before we walk into a room, I'm like, okay, Tarai, what do we need to be when we walk into the room? We need to be charming. What does charming mean? Charming means we're going to speak loudly, we're going to look people in the eye, we're going to give them a strong handshake. Great. Now, if an adult comes up to you and asks you what your name is, and you do the old way, I'll pull you aside. He's like, hey, remember, you need to be charming. And guess what? He's become more charming over time. And people think he is the life of the party whenever he walks into a room because his personality is so just appealing and attractive. And so being in this experience as a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters has kind of made my life come full circle. I'm able to intentionally pour into the life of someone who may not have had this opportunity otherwise. Sure, he has teachers, sure, he has parents, but having someone from the outside who is unconnected with him otherwise, be able to give him experiences and teach him things that he may not have learned has been really satisfying and fulfilling for me. And he articulates in his own way how grateful he is for that opportunity as well. So what is the point? The point to me, for mentorship is deep human connection. How can we live a life that other people want to aspire to? How can we inspire people to become a better version of themselves? That is what a mentor does. A mentor doesn't necessarily become something that they aren't already, but they show people what else is possible. And so one thing I want to leave you with is that you may not, as a mentor, be able to change someone's life, but at the very least, one thing we can do is make someone's day better. Thank you. Okay.
Opportunity to go out there. Holding the wrong button. There we go. Open up the floor for any Q&A opportunities, and anybody.
So I have a question. Is this working?
It's not amplifying your voice, but.
Oh, hi, camera. Okay, sorry about that. Wow. Okay, so has there ever been a time when you're mentoring, either intentionally or unintentionally, and you maybe demonstrated or mentored the wrong thing? And how did you undo that or work through that?
That's a great question. So I'm going to reference an example. One thing that will happen as a teacher is that your students become a reflection of who you are, for better or for worse. When it's the worst, it is the worst. So I would say things in class like, because kids like to tattle on each other. Like, there's 30 something y'all. I literally, I can't hold all this information. Y'all are overwhelming me, and I'm trying my best not to just snap at this moment. But they would start to, and so I would tell them, hey, just worry about yourself and mind your business. And then I would hear them tell each other that, but not in a kind way. And I was like, oh, but maybe I should change what I'm saying because it's becoming an echo chamber. And I'm glad that that's the only thing that I'm saying. That's kind of crazy because if I was saying something even worse than that, I would hear it myself and I have to make an even bigger shift. But that is one of the moments where I was like, okay, class, I need to apologize. I've been talking and speaking way to you. Um, that I don't like hearing myself. And so if I don't like hearing it, you need to change it in the classroom. And so I had to make a big change, apologize, and substitute it with something else that was actually what I want to see in my class. Mhm.
Their thoughts. Anybody have? Oh,
Hi there. I wanted to understand as an educator and as a Black man, how you, kind of piggybacking on to her question, how you are able to filter and still guide those that, have that heritage and need to have those, have that learned behavior for certain
Mhm.
things, but make it universal for everybody, even though you know it, that
Yeah.
story is for that child.
So,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
I know very well. Because especially if you identify with specific kids in your classroom, whether it's based on gender, on your race, on your background, you tend to want certain things from them, right? You want to teach certain lessons, but you know that you have to, as an educator, you're a professional, you're in a space that can sometimes, especially now, be super political, and you don't want to get into like and so especially Davion is a little he was a little he's like 25 now. He was a little like, and that's one of the reasons why we connected in the way that we did. He reminded me so much of myself, and a lot of the conversations that I have with not just Davion, Anthony is also a black kid, very smart, very impulsive, and our conversations would sometimes be around generally the same things, but different. But I also would have individual conversations. I wouldn't necessarily have them with the whole class, but something that comes out of our individual conversations, I would share with the entire class because everyone would benefit from it. And so that's kind of how I navigated being able to have individual, personalized conversations, but then also allowing the rest of the class to benefit from those conversations as well.
Thinking about tell the whole you need to make go for it. And it's like you can't go for it all the time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because that might put you in a vulnerable situation. It's
for sure.
okay. Like
Yes.
I have so much respect for teachers because you have to have that focused attention, but then have to make sure that everyone is included. Uh, Big ups to the teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, too, is like I mentioned before, I didn't get teaching because I'm a physical. But but I saw teaching as a social justice issue. So I believe that all kids should have access to excellent education. And so, especially for the kids that I taught in my community, super low graduation rates, high poverty, high crime, high drug had so many, and many of them are first generation Americans. So there are so many layers of challenges that they have to face all the time. And I was very real with them. There are a lot of challenges you're going to have to face, class, and honestly, the state and everyone else in the community is looking at your test scores and determining your wealth and your value on how well you do. And it's not fair, right? But the thing that you can do is understand that if you work your hardest, you make your parents proud, if you make yourself proud, that is the most that anyone could ever ask of you. So all I'm going to ask is that you give your best, and I'll give you. my best in return.
Do you have any specific instances where you felt like it's very rewarding to you and you thought, okay, my job
It's just where I felt rewarded like I did my time. In education or in general? In education. Oh man, you guys are making me go back. So to be transparent, I haven't taught full time in the classroom for like over a decade. So I'm like going back in my memory banks. It was like, because the thing is like we oftentimes remember the bad parts about teaching. So I'm like, oh man, did I do anything right? Um, a moment, other than the moment that I think story. So Anthony, the kid who I was mentioning earlier, he was like really athletic. Like you could tell, like he played football, he could, he was like probably this tall. Really, he looked like he lifted weights. But he was one of the smartest kids in the class. Very nice, very sweet. But if you put him on the playground, not cross him. He knows. Um, but Anthony became friends with one of I like this word scrawny, one of the most tiny, weak-looking kids in the class named Jesus. And Jesus, his family was very, very poor. Oftentimes he would come to class and his clothes were still dirty, hair was super, super messy. But they were the best. It was the most unlikely friendships that you'd ever expect in a him and him friends. Where'd that come from? But we spoke a lot about generosity in my class and how our community as a class needs to support one another, not just on the playground when you're playing soccer on the same team, but also as people and as if you see your group mate who is struggling with something, you can go and help them understand it in a different way than I can teach them. And so Anthony, he saw that Jesus, his shoes, coming class, his shoes were falling apart. And of course, as a teacher, I can refer him to like the counselor, to the social service worker, and get him new shoes. And he said, "Hey, sis, tomorrow I'm going to bring you some new shoes to school." And I was like, "Okay, sure, Anthony, where do you get some new shoes?" Sure enough, Anthony came to school the next day with a box of brand new shoes. Were they the right size? No. But did Jesus wear them proudly? Absolutely. And I know that one of the reasons why he felt compelled to act on that generosity is because of the things that we had been doing in class. And it made me so proud to know that I helped create this community where people go above and beyond for the other people in this classroom. So that's an example of I'm doing it. I'm doing it, Mom. Look at
One more.
I wasn't going to say anything, but you're such a compelling speaker.
oh,
First off, like, you're just very engaging, charismatic, just like locked in. So thank you for being here today. Mentorship is something that seems like it's an ever growing, ever evolving thing. So you referenced that most of these stories have been in the past, about 10 years ago. So, traditional mentorship, like mentoring a younger child, like super down for that. You've planted a seed, so thank you. But in this current stage in your life, how have you redefined mentorship? Is there anybody that you are educating and anybody that's educating you? Like, where are you going in this next chapter of your journey?
absolutely. Yeah. So currently, Tarai and I are still together. Been together 4 years. We're actually going to hang out later today. We're going to go see Superman. That's what people like. I don't know how good it is. So if you go see it, don't me. But other than Tarai, people often ask, especially entrepreneurs, they're like, "Oh, who do you look up to? Who inspires you? What books do you read? What podcasts or conferences do you go to?" I am the kind of person who I need to have access, like to be able to put my hands on or call or have like a video conference or have a coffee with people. And so a lot of my mentors are people who are in my same community, whether you're an entrepreneur or someone who is spiritually mature, And yesterday, a friend of mine came into town, and we were having lunch, and he was like, you know what? And it kind of made me chuckle because he's like, you know what? I just want to say that I appreciate you for being a mentor to me. I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me more. He's because when we met, he's an entrepreneur as well, but I'm heavily involved in my church, and he's like, "You are one of the few people who see me on my journey from then until now, and my life was completely different. And anytime I come and talk to you, you don't tell me what to do. You ask questions, you say things from your own experience, and you let me make my own decision, and you support me for better or for worse." And I just wanted to say I appreciate you for that. I was like, "Oh man," and I'm like talking about mentorship tomorrow. That's thank you. So yeah, so in my community of people who are kind of in my same age group, of course there are people who are older than me. I have this because my grandfather was a preacher. I have this thing about older people and allowing space for people who really need their support to get their time because I can find my own way for the most part. And I really look for people who are around me doing the same thing successfully, and and that's where I get the most bang for my buck in terms of mentorship. So, thanks for asking that question.
Thanks so much, Drew. Thank
Yes, thank
you.
you.
All righty.
Grab all my stuff up there. Oh, my name tag too. I think I was gonna put it back on. Now it's all wrinkled in. Probably not sticky anymore. But there we go.
All right, so now we have opportunity for 30-second spotlight. So if there's something that you want to share about a project that you're working on or a job opportunity that you're seeking or you're filling, or just want to share about something going on in the community, come on up.
Ours is first.
Oh, yes, our own. We're always looking for volunteers to help. The Creative Mornings is a completely volunteer-run organization, and we are looking for folks who, especially videography and video editing, live streaming, so that way we can move folks around. Also, I think e-newsletter help is something that we would appreciate a lot of assistance on. But also, if you want to do anything day up, you know, social butterfly, a designated person to say hello to the first timers. I know we have a couple first timers here. You want to raise your hand and just say hi? So yay! Thanks for your bravery in coming to and being here for the first time. If you're interested in being a social butterfly, to come and say hi to them. Email Phoenix at creativemornings.com. Now that we've opened the floor.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Muse, and I just opened up a micro creative studio space off of 3rd Avenue in McDowell. And on Sundays, we've started the Artist Way, which is a 12-week creative program. Julia Cameron is the author. We just kicked it off last Sunday, and so each Sunday for the next 12 weeks, it's free to pop in, bring some papers, some pens, and yeah, it's on 3rd Avenue McDowell inside of Garfield Galleria at 3 p.m. on Sundays.
Thank you. If you want, I don't know. Come on.
I'm Molly. Kathy and I are running the show for Phoenix as I make this year. What? Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say if there's any makers or little business owners that have shops and creative items that they like to sell, we will be having a pop-up market again this year. So be on the lookout for an application, registration. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll do a whole spiel later, but come. It's going to be great.
I love it.
Hi, my name is Felicia Penza. I'm a graphic designer, a singer, a writer, and I wrote a children's book. I have two, a boy and a girl. They're 15 years old now, but they were 7 when I picked them up from daycare and they were crying. And I said, "What happened?" And they said, "Well, Nakia's dad picks them up every day." Because our dad, like, out of town, he come pick us up so that we can tell them, "Look at our dad." And I was like, "Oh, I've screwed up. So let me go to Changing Hands or Barnes and Noble." And they had no books about single parent households. So I wrote a book called I Will Always Choose You. And I have a Kickstarter right now. I need to get it illustrated and printed so that all the single parent households know that there's a book. So the QR code is on these lovely flyers. I know that was past 30 seconds, but I had to tell y'all what's going on. Okay, bye.
Anyone else? Troy.
Hello, first time to Creative Morning, so thank you for having this. My name is Troy Potkin. I'm a professor of design at Grand Canyon University, but a copywriter and creative director. Worked in the Valley here for a long time. But I am making a quick pitch for adjunct professors. We have several design classes that we're still looking for adjunct professors. So you don't need masters, just experience in your field. We have some intro to graphic design classes. We might have a ethics, legal and ethics class. I know there's web design and game design. So if any of that stuff sounds interesting to you, Adele has taught for us before. And Drew has spoken in my classes numerous times. So if you can't commit to a full semester, but you would like the opportunity to speak to design students, I'm also kind of chairing a bigger effort than having speaker individual classes like Drew has done. We want to create a speaker series. So if you have an opportunity, we also have students that would love to illustrate a book. So anyway, you can find me pretty easy. Troy Podkin, only one in New York. Weird misspelling of last name. So, but I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
All right. Last call. All right. Oh, actually, no, I had one thing from a friend. Phoenix Oasis Press has events for writers. And so look them up at phoenixoasispress.org. There's a bunch of workshops and events going on. We'll share that in the newsletter as well. So if you are a writer, and if you write an email, you are a writer, you can check out their events. Felicia has, yeah. So speaking of writing emails, sign up for our newsletter. We follow, Creative Mornings follows European email rules, so we do not spam. If you sign up for this event, you will only ever receive communication about today's event. So if you want anything else about Creative Mornings, then go on to our city and sign up for the local chapter newsletter. If you go to other cities around the world, you can sign up for the one in Dubai as well. Things around town. We've got Type Thursday on July 31st. If you enjoy photography, go to Dialogue Thursday evening, 6:30 to 9:30. It'll be the second event that they have. Phoenix Design Week.
Yeah, it's coming. We have a wonderful slate of keynote speakers this year, and we will soon be announcing all of our breakouts. Look for October. Yeah, that's going to be after the event. August 1st is when we are going to be releasing a whole bunch of information. We are going to be having workshops that you can register for. We will, whether you're attending the conference or not, we will have available. We are also going to be having, as I mentioned, pop-up shops. And if you're hosting a community event that happens between the 19th and the 26th, we would love to be able to promote that for you. Is there another slide? Oh, yep, here you go. Mark your merch. And then is there another one? Host a community event. Here you go. And we are also going to be ending the advanced ticket, conference registration pricing on July 31st. So again, that August 1st date is very important. So if you can ask myself or Kathy. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. The end. You can hear me speak on stage again.
So our next event will be on August 29th at the Better Business Bureau on Missouri in 10th Street. And our speaker is Laura Danuser, who runs Local Nomad, the little boutique shop. And the theme is Nomad. And she is not here today because she is currently on a road trip. So she lives the theme. So mark your calendar. And as a reminder, bring a friend. We built a community of creatives here, and love seeing a lot of new faces here today. Good morning. Thank you, everyone.